Good morning, North Schuylkill. I'm Doug Wiest.
I'm Dan Tomtician. Last week, In the News featured some of our STC students and their views on the opportunities at Votech. Late in the week, the select students showed their talents in the skills competition. The Skills USA Championship is a series of competitive events featuring career and technical education students.
Multiple North Schuylkill students received awards including Serenity Malik, Michaela Fazio, Emily Fedoroff, Gage Blashock, and Jaden Gaffney. 2 other students performed so well that they will advance to the state competition in April. Best of luck to Ryan Thurs and Will Simmons, who will be competing in culinary and welding sculpture, respectively. We'll have more coverage on the event in the coming weeks.
This week, we'll be continuing our coverage of electives. In the next week, students will be meeting with guidance, so keep in mind some of the information you've seen in the segments when making your choices about your future courses.
I'm Dan Tomtician here with
Diana, Sarah,
Dylan.
All right. So how does sculpture different from an introductory art course?
you do a lot more in sculpture and you finish a lot more projects and work at a faster pace.
Okay. And what kind of projects can you expect to do in this class?
There's about 5 or 6 different projects you do. Like you have clay, you have plaster, you have carving, just a lot of different types of sculpture.
Okay, and you have some projects for us. Can we see some examples? Okay, so can you talk about this a little bit? What does this all involve?
This was clay. This was just a platter, different environment.
Okay, and how long did it take you to do this?
With the glazing, about, I would say, 4 to 5 weeks, maybe.
What this
yeah, this
is?
was like the same thing, except it was just more of a vase.
Okay.
They were set.
So it's a vase.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration behind doing these projects? What does this stuff represent?
Well, we were supposed to pick like an environment. Some people did ponds, some people did forests. I just chose the desert because nobody else really did that one.
How is sculpture different from pottery?
In pottery, you use clay, and in sculpture, you use different materials, not just clay. Like we do plaster, clay, carving, and other stuff.
What's your favorite material to work with?
Probably clay.
What challenges does a three-dimensional class present?
Well, you're using a lot of different stuff, not just, you're doing drawing and painting too, like you're sketching, you're painting stuff, so it kind of combines all 3.
Okay, do you have anything to add?
It's definitely a lot more hands-on than other art classes.
Okay.
Yeah, and you just also have to work with time management to make sure you get all your projects finished.
I'm Haley Guerra here with In the News with Gracie and Zeb. So why do you think every student should take public speaking?
Well, for one, speech isn't everything. I mean, we use it every day to communicate with each other. And in a professional setting, I think it's going to be really important to stay calm and collected while you're speaking.
Why do you think?
I mean, a lot of what Gracie said is very true. I mean, you're going to have to public speak some point in your life in front of someone. I mean, it makes you a better thinker and obviously a better speaker, a better leader. It's a great course to take.
I agree. What kind of topics do your speeches cover?
Well, we can go a lot of different topics. Basically anything we're interested in. We do a persuasive speech, an informative speech, and just like a lot of cool topics we can do if we are interested in them.
So how can this course help a student overcome their fear of public speaking?
I feel that Mrs. Miller, makes it a very safe place to practice, and there's just no judgment between us and our peers. It's just a really safe place to practice speaking.
Okay. So on the topic of speeches, what do you think about the State Union Address?
I thought it was an interesting speech. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but I thought he did cover some good context, some good topics. One thing I would have liked is to see a little more policy looking forward, like focusing on specifics of stuff like immigration and infrastructure.
He did say some things that were very emotionally charged and made me feel very proud to be an American. One thing that I would have changed was avoided using terms that were very specific to certain groups of people. I think he could definitely work on that, and I would like to see changes of that in the future.
I'm Lindsay Westner here with Avery Jordan. So Avery, what kind of projects can students look forward to in the class?
Well, in the first half of the year, so in Human Phys 1, we dissect a sheep heart when we're doing the heart chapter. And then we also do an EKG of our heart, and we also do our heart rate. And then in the second half, Ms. Boyer said that we dissect a sheep brain. So that's pretty exciting.
How do field trips help what you're learning in class?
So we didn't go on any field trips yet, but in March we're going to go to the Mutter Museum. So that's pretty much a museum in Philadelphia about like abnormal things within the body and diseases and stuff. So when we go there, we can actually get like a visual on what we're learning about, which will really help us in the classroom.
What type of college majors would a class like Human Phys benefit?
Pretty much like anything in the medical field. I'm going for nursing, so that'll help me. Radiology, doctor, physician's assistant, physical therapist, pretty much anything in the medical field will Human Phys will help you with.
Hey guys, it's Haley with In the News, and I'm here with Miss Klein. So Miss Klein, is music tech a class you could take even if you don't play an instrument or you can't read music?
Absolutely. This is a class that is very much general for any person in the population. You do not need to read music at all for this class.
What kind of equipment and software do you use in the class?
We typically use our iPad cart here. We have programs loaded onto it. We spend a lot of time using GarageBand and learning how to make accompaniment tracks and all sorts of things like that. We use the Hokusai program. We clip music. We can do a lot of things. We make ringtones, and but we pretty much use the equipment that we have, which is the iPads.
So Emily, can you describe your favorite project from the class?
My favorite project probably was for Christmas. We picked Christmas songs that we liked and we mashed them all together to make just like a Christmas mashup.
Now, what did you learn from taking this class?
We just learned how to like mix music, we made mashups, made different sounds with things, and like the apps on the iPad.
Hi, I'm here with Stevie Smith. So Stevie, what kind of things did you learn in this class?
We learned how to use music apps and just stuff like that.
Can you tell us what your favorite project was?
My favorite project was where we had to mash up a bunch of sounds to make a day out of it, and we all had to guess which day or like which part of our day we made.
That sounds really interesting. Thank you.
Yep.
This was only a brief look at the specialized courses that the school has to offer. You can find more detailed information in the course selection guide, or you can ask your guidance counselor.
According to sportingnews.com, the average cost of a 30-second commercial during the Super Bowl costs over $5 million. The good news is you can advertise for us for free. If your group or organization is fundraising and wants to spread the word about an event, contact someone in the news and we'll get the word out for no cost at all. The big game is this weekend, and you can't have a good Super Bowl party without good eats. Here's some crazy numbers about what America's eating. Across the nation, it is estimated that on Super Bowl Sunday, Americans will consume 1.3 billion chicken wings. To give you some perspective, that's about 300 times the combined weight of all 32 NFL teams. Americans will also eat over 11 million pounds of potato chips and 4 million pizzas.
Don't rely on ordering food though. Be the real MVP and show up with a creation of your own. Here are a few easy recipes that you can put together for this weekend.
I'm Dan Tomtitian here, and I chose taco dip for the Super Bowl party because, in my opinion, it's the easiest, and I'm not a guy who likes complicated things. So first, you want to start with 2 cakes of cream cheese, and you spread them out you plop it down on your plate. It's like that. So this is an 8-ounce block of cream cheese, which I left out to soften, so it's easier to spread. And you want to put the 2 pretty much in the middle of the plate next to each other, so that it's easy to just spread it out. So now I'm going to begin to spread out this cream cheese to like the edge of the plate, but not the very edge. So like to the inside layer. Next, after your cream cheese is spread out to the edge, you want to take your salsa and spread it out on the cream cheese to make it nice and even. I would say go 4 teaspoons of salsa. That's a tablespoon of salsa. 4 tablespoons of salsa. After you add your salsa, a recommendation from my mother is to add stewed tomatoes with green peppers and onions in with the mix. So previously I drained a can of these, drained the juice out, and now I just place it on top of the salsa. I shredded iceberg lettuce. About a half a head of lettuce. Your last ingredient will be Mexican cheese. So again, you can add this to your preference, however much you want. Just spread it on there as much as you want. And cover the top. Good enough to eat. I recommend Tostitos. That's really good. Really good.
Okay, today we're also going to be making some guacamole. Guacamole is very easy to make, so we're just going to talk about some tips. First of all, when you're buying avocados, you're going to make sure they're not like rock hard, but they're not super soft either. So just check them out. What you want to do is cut them lengthwise, and then just twist to split it. Okay, when you're removing the pit, you want to take the bottom of your knife, just push it into the pit, and then twist, and it will pop right out. And then when you're done with it, you could just pinch at the bottom of the blade, and it will slide right off. Okay, once you cut all your avocados, what you want to do is scoop out the green flesh inside into a ball. Next thing you want to do is cut your jalapeno. Okay, so there's some misconceptions about jalapeno peppers. A lot of people believe that all the heat comes from the seeds, but that's not actually true. Okay, there's what's called capsaicin that gives the pepper the heat, and it's actually inside the ribs of the pepper. So it's not the seeds, it's the parts that the seeds are attached to. So you want to get rid of those so it's not super hot. So next thing you want to do, you want to take some cilantro. I usually do just like a handful. Just rip it off. Try not to get the stems in there. You just want the leaves, and you're going to give them a chop. It's going to add a lot of flavor to it. Okay, at this point we can start combining some things. So we took the avocados. The recipe calls for 2. I use 3. They're a little bit smaller, and we want to add things. So we're going to put in our cilantro that we just cut, all that jalapeno, throw it in there, and we have about 1/4 cup of red onion that we chopped earlier. The last thing we want to do is freshen up with a little bit of lime. I suggest before you try to squeeze the juice out of the lime that you give it a roll along the counter. Just press down on it, make it a lot easier to juice. Okay, so just cut it in half, and you only really need the juice from 1/2. So just squeeze this in here. So the next thing you want to do is just you want to mash everything up. Sometimes the avocados can give you a little bit of resistance. Most of the time you can just use a fork. Oh, this works way better. Okay, so once you have everything kind of integrated and mixed up, last thing to do is just add a little bit of salt for flavor. That's guacamole.
Hi, I'm Tori Lindenmuth, and I decided to make buffalo chicken dip for my Super Bowl party because everyone always loves that and it's always a favorite. So what you're going to do with all of these ingredients, basically, you're just going to measure them out, and then you're going to put them in a crock pot and let them cook. So first we're going to start off with chicken. You can cook your own chicken, or you could buy canned chicken. I prefer cooking it, but this is what we have for now. So you're going to measure it out, and you're going to use 2 cups of chicken. So we have our 2 cups of chicken, and we're going to just if you have canned chicken, try to shred it a little bit before, as you put it in the crock pot. And now you're going to go in with your cream cheese, and you're just going to use 1 package of cream cheese, and make sure it's softened, because if it's not, it won't work out well. I'm going to kind of break it apart right now at first, just to help with the mixing process later on. And if it's softened, it'll break apart easy. So after you put in your cream cheese, you're going to go in with 1/2 cup of Frank's Red Hot, or really any hot sauce of your choice. It doesn't really matter. And just measure that out. Use your 1/2 cup, and you're just going to pour that in, just like that. You're going to go in with 1/2 cup of Hidden Valley Ranch, or any ranch of your choice. And Oh yeah, half a cup of ranch and pour that in. Like so. You have cheese to put in. We have just plain cheese and then we have blue cheese, and you could put the blue cheese on top when it's finished if you like that. A lot of people don't like blue cheese. But then you're gonna take another half a cup of cheese and put that in with it all. And if you're cooking it in a crock pot, you can cook it for 2 hours on high, or if you're doing it in an oven, you can set your oven to 350 and bake it for 20 minutes. And then you'll have really delicious buffalo chicken dip.
Just make sure that you unplug your crock pot after the party. I repeat, please unplug your crock pots after using them.
This week's reward system winner for junior high is Anna Ravitch from Mrs. Rex.
And for senior high, it's Sarah Kimmel from Mrs. Holman. Please claim your prize in the office.
I'm Doug Wiest.
I'm Dan Tomtitian.
Put a little sunshine in your day.